Good morning, children. Sairam. Children, today I am going to start the next chapter of our book, Indian Economic Development. That is chapter number 13. And the name of our chapter is Development Experience of India, Pakistan, and China, which is a comparative study. Children, this is the first video of this chapter, and in this video, we are going to learn the strategy of growth of India, Pakistan, and China, the comparative performance of the economics, and we are going to learn all this comparative performance of the economies in India, China, and Pakistan in terms of the GDP growth, structural growth, demographic profile, human development, the common success stories of India and Pakistan, and the China edge over India. So these are the topics, the important topics we are going to cover up in today's video. And children, one thing is very important to understand here that this chapter number 13, it itself the third unit of the book Indian Economic Development, which contains a weightage of 6 marks in the board examination. And by this chapter, our syllabus for class 12th economics will be over, and further we are going to revise all the topics what we have learned chapter wise. So children, let us start with the first topic, the strategic growth of India, Pakistan, and China. Children, in the preceding chapters, as we have already studied in the details about all the aspects of the Indian economy, its problem, policies, and development, we know that the economies of the world has been classified into the developed and the developing countries. So, in this chapter, children, we will compare the trend in the various economies and the human development indicators of India, which is the largest democracy country of the world, with a secular and liberal constitutions for over half a century, with its two principal neighbors. The first one is China. China, which has recently started moving forward a more liberal restructuring of its command economy. Thereafter is the second country, the neighbor country, which is known as Pakistan, having an authoritarian military and political power structure. So all these three countries, which is India, China, and Pakistan, have more than 6 decades of development experiences behind them, and we will also appraise the strategies which is adopted by these countries to reach their present stage of development. Children, moreover, the various nations are also trying to understand the developmental processes pursued by their neighboring countries, as it allows them to realize their own strength and weakness in comparing to their neighbors. So, in the process of globalization, the developing countries are facing competitions not only from the developed nations but also from the other developing nations. So, an understanding of this country's economies in our neighborhood is still required. So, let us start with a first topic, that is the introduction, that is the strategy of growth of India, Pakistan, and China. Children, after independence, as we all know, India and Pakistan adopted almost a similar strategy of growth, and the principal features of the strategy are as under. First, says that it has it was a mixed economy model of the growth. So both the India and the Pakistan's economy are the mixed economy towards of you can say growth. The strategy of growth underlined the significance of both the private and the public sectors, and this public sectors was assigned the key role of kicking start the process of growth. the private sectors was assigned the secondary role of pushing the process of growth. Now, children, one thing is very important to understand here, that why was the public sector assigned the key role? My question is, why was the public sector assigned the key role? So, children, the answer is the public sector assigned the key role was because of the partition of the country into the India and the Pakistan had rendered both the economy as laggard economy. What is laggard economy? Laggard economy shows the slow growing or backward economies. Second point, children, both the economies needed a big push of investment. So only the government could afford it, and hence the greater reliance on the public sector is the main reason of the growth of India and Pakistan. So, on the other hand, children, the China adopted a more rigorous model of growth, which is established as Public Republic of China in 1949, People's Republic of China in 1949, and it decided to bring all the critical areas of production and activities under the government control. So the national resources, including all land, was declared a government monopoly. So, thus, the China adopted the statism as a model of growth in which the ownership of all resources vested with the state, that is, with the government itself, and the state was to decide what to produce, how to produce, and for whom to produce. So, this was the reason behind the public sectors assigned the key role towards the strategy of growth of India and Pakistan. So, children, before we move ahead, let us learn the similarities in the development path of India, Pakistan, and China. So, children, India, Pakistan, and China have many similarities in their development strategies. First is all these three nations started their development path at the same time, first of all. Second, children, India and Pakistan got independence in 1947. India and Pakistan, these two nations, got independent in the year 1947, whereas the whereas the People Republic of China, this was established in the year 1949. So, all these three countries have started planning their development strategies in the similar ways. India announces its first 5 year plans in the year 1951 on April 1st, whereas Pakistan announces its 5 year plans in the year 1956, and so on by China in the year 1953. So, since 2013, Pakistan is working on the basis of the 11th 5 year development plan, which is from 2013 to 18, while China is working on 13th 5 year plan. I mean, Pakistan was is working on 11th 5 year plan in between 2013 to 18, whereas China is working on its 13 5 year plans in the from the year 2000 to 2016 to 2020. Until March 2017, India has also been following the 5 year plan, which is based on the development model. So, India and Pakistan adopted the similar strategies as I just said, such as creating large public sectors and raising public expenditure on the development, on the social development. Until 1980s, all the three countries had a similar growth rate and per capita income. So all the three countries have performed differently, and India and Pakistan have made slow and irregular progress as compared to the China, which has made a miraculous progress, while China has made a miraculous progress. So, but before we make a comparative study of this three countries, we need to first analyze the structure of economies of India, China, and Pakistan. Children, if we're talking about China, let us learn about some brief introduction of this China, the historical background. Children, China has one of the world's oldest people and continuous civilizations consisting of states and cultures dating back more than 6 millennia. So, the People's Republic of China, in short, we can call it PRC, commonly known as China, was established in the year 1949. If we're talking about the geography, China is situated in the Eastern Asia, bounded by the Pacific in the east. It is the third largest country in the world, which is next to Canada, and Russia. First is on Canada, second is Russia, on third place is China, with an average of 9.6 million square square kilometer. So this is the geography of China, and if we're talking about here is the population and language. If we're talking about the China's population and language, then I must say China is the most populous country in the world with 1,371 million people as per 2015 estimates, and a growth rate of 0.5% per annum. So the population growth in China is only 0.5% per annum. So most languages in China belongs to Sino Tibetan language family, which is spoken by the 29 ethnicities. So there are also several major dialects within the China's language itself. If we're talking about the China's economy, being one of as being one of the oldest civilization in the world, China has been the world largest economy. So after the establishment of the People's Republic of China under one party rule, all the critical sectors of the economies, enterprises, and lands owned and operated by the individuals were brought under the government control. So, this is very important to understand here that all the sectors of the economy, the enterprise, and the land, which is even owned and operated by any individuals, were brought under the government control. So, that is why we can say that India has been the largest economy, and some of the economic controls we are going to we are going to express here. The first one is GLF campaign. GLF campaign. What is campaign? GLF campaign means the Great Leap Forward campaign. So, children, in the year 1958, a program named the Great Leap Forward campaign was initiated by Mao to modernize Chinese economy. So the aim of this campaign was to transform agrarian economy into a modern economy through the process of rapid industrialization. Under this program, children, people were encouraged to set up industries in their backyards. In rural areas, communes were started, and under the commune system, children, peoples collectively cultivated lands. So, in the year 1958, there were 26,000 communes covering almost all the farm populations, and GLF campaign met with many problems as well, as severe drought caused havoc in China, killing about 30 million people. Killing about 30 millions people. So this was the first campaign. What I'm talking about here is, now we'll see the second one. Our second one is Great Proletarian Cultural Revolution. So, children, in the year 1965, Mao introduced the Great Proletarian Cultural Revolution in between 1966 to 76, under which the students and the professionals were sent to work and learn from the countryside. However, when Russia had conflicts with China, it withdrew its professionals who had earlier been sent to China to help in the industrialization process. Next is children reforms introduced in China. So the present day fast industrial growth in China can be traced back to the reforms introduced in the year 1978. This was the year when the reforms were introduced in the China, and the China introduced reforms in the various phases. So we're talking about in the first phase, which is an initial phase. Children, reforms were initiated first in agriculture, foreign trade, and investment sectors. So in agriculture, commune land were divided into the small plots which were allocated only for the use and not as the ownership to the individual houses, and they were allowed to keep all incomes from the land after paying stipulated taxes. Children, in the later phases, reforms were initiated in the industrial sector and the private sectors, firms, and township and village enterprise, the enterprise which were owned and operated by the local collectives, were allowed to produce goods. So, at this stage, enterprises owned by the government, known as state owned enterprises or SOEs, were made to face competition. Now, the next one is Special Economic Zone, which in short we call it SEZ. So, in order to attract the foreign investors, children, special economic zones were set up. So, this was an introduction, a brief introduction about country China. Now, the same we will learn for the Pakistan. Children, here we will just see the economic background and the introduction part of the country China. So, first we will talk about the historical background. Children, Pakistan, officially the Islamic Republic of Pakistan, gained independence on 14th August 1947. In the year 1971, a civil war in East Pakistan resulted in the independence of the Bangladesh, and Pakistan history has been characterized by the periods of economic growth, military rule, and political instability. So now we will talking about the geography of Pakistan. Children, Pakistan is located in the South Asia and borders Central Asia and the Middle East. Its borders are with China in the north and towards west, and northwest are Iran and Afghanistan, and towards east and southeast its borders are with India. So the country has an area of 7,96,095 square kilometers. The total cultivated area is 2,21,300 square kilometers, whereas the area under the forest is only 42,300 square kilometer. Now we'll learn about the population and language. Children, Pakistan is the sixth most populous country in the world with 188 million people as per 2015 estimates, with a growth rate of 2.1% per annum. So, one third of the total population lives below the official poverty line. It has the second largest Muslim populations in the world after Indonesia. The national language is Urdu and English is the official language. If we're talking about the economy, the first feature is mixed economy system. Pakistan follows the mixed economy model with coexistence of public and private sectors. Second is introduction of the various policies. So in the late 1950s and in 1960s, Pakistan introduced a variety of regulated policy framework for a growth of domestic industries. The policy combines tariff protections for manufacturing of consumable goods towards with the direct import controls with the together with direct import controls on competing imports. Now, the Green Revolution. In case of agriculture, the introduction of the Green Revolution and increase in public investment in infrastructure led to a rise in the production of food grains. This changed the agrarian structure dramatically. Now the next is the importance of role of public sector in the earliest 1970s. Children, in the early 1970s, nationalization of capital goods industries took place, and in the late 1970s there was a shift in the government policy when it adopted the policy of denationalization. So government increased the private investors, the private sectors, and also offered various incentives to them, and all this created a conducive climate for new investment. Now we are going to learn the financial support during the late 1970s. Children, during this period, Pakistan also received many financial support from the Western nations and remittances from the emigrant to the Middle East. This helped the country in stimulating the economic growth. And children, in the year 1988, Pakistan introduced various reforms in their own country. So these are some of the basic introduction of a country, Pakistan. So Children, in today's video, we have learned the basic introduction of the comparative development experience of the India and its neighbors countries like China and Pakistan. And we do have learned the comparative study, the introduction study of China and Pakistan, and where we have learned in detail the background, the historical background, the geographical situation, the population, and the language of the countries, and we do have learned their economies and the reforms what they have been adopted for the growth and development of their own country. So children, I hope in today's video you are getting understand the concept of the China and the Pakistan. You are well informed now. You have the basic ideas about what the country the China is, what are his historical background and all, and the same for the Pakistan. So once you understand their basic introduction, then only you will frame the various development experiences, the which is the development strategies which has been adopted by the various countries. So in short, we can later onwards understand their comparative studies of their strategies of development and growth. So, children, thank you so much for watching this video, and in the next video, we will again continue with the remaining topics. So, thank you so much for watching, and have a nice day in Sai Ram.